What's up, motherfuckers? After a first day with 3 draws and 1 victory of Kasparov in the match, in the second day we start with Kasparov with the white pieces and a completely new position compared with yesterday, of course, because Fischer random. And I made another video analyzing the initial position, so let's start analyzing the first game of the second day. Okay, here Kasparov opened with c4. I commented in the previous game that maybe I prefer a little bit d4, but d4 followed by, for example, if after e5 followed by c3, d4 has so much sense. So Anand chose to respond with d6, like friends, d4, d5, and the Kasparov move that I don't like anything here was it takes d5. And in my opinion, after this move, it takes and the position is also equal. Okay, you have a extra tempo with white, but it's like a French different change variation. Here we have two interesting options. One was c4, breaking the center, and after it takes 92, followed by 93, and a good pawn sacrifice, now having two central pawns. And the other good move here was c3, just defending the e4 pawn and trying to fight for the central space. After it takes d5, it takes d5. Now the game starts into so equal. And let's see how the game continues. Now the game is so equal. Okay, c3, logical move, open the bishop. c6, black is making the same, open the bishop. Bishop d2, improving the bishop, of course. Bishop d6, d7, Anand is making the same. Rook e1. Okay, now it's a move to try to break a little bit the symmetry because after rook e8, now, okay, at least Kasparov take on e8 and the d2 bishop is a little bit better than the e8 bishop. So now we can see that white have won a extra tempo. It's not enough, of course, to win the game, but okay, it's a little bit improvement to win this extra tempo. Okay, g3, open the queen, d6, making the same, bishop c2, bishop d6. Kasparov decided to only move the bishop one square and decided to move twice. It's more or less similar. There are no huge difference between half the bishop on c3, on c2, or on d3. This is more or less similar. Okay, both players goes along. And here, okay, Anand, like Kasparov play rook e1, but I prefer a little bit the move knight f3. So in one moment after a possible f6, have the square e1 to go with the knight to d3. So for that reason, I prefer a little bit knight f3. For example, of course, if knight f6, knight e5, and white e5 here. So black should have played or with bishop d7, 93, 96, and here rook e1. For example, because if 91, here knight f6. Now, for example, if f6, now we are going to have the typical move 91. Now, the e5 square is covered, the e5 square is covered, so we're going to go to d3. Now threat knight c5 in some lines, or bishop f4, playing his good bishop in some other lines. And if f6 was the main move, here the plan was just 93, h4, and now 91, trying to d3. Before here, if 93 was the logical plan of the white position. For that reason, I prefer a little bit knight f3 first, to have the e1 square to can go with the knight to d3. But okay, rook e1 was fine, bishop d7, yeah, well, white is still with his extra tempo. Knight f3, threatening to go to e5, f6, good move, defending. And okay, knight e3, bishop e6, and here, Kasparov has a good position. And with some extra tempos, the both white knights was developed, the two black knight was undeveloped, the rook is better placed, so I should say that white have the advantage here, have 3 pieces more developed than your opponent. Black only have well placed the both bishop and white the both knights, the both bishops and the rook. And apart, the white queen is more open than the black queen. But here, Kasparov chose an incorrect plan. The best plan of white here was h4. No, with white you have all your pieces well placed, so you should try to advance your pawns and take space in the wings. For example, after h5, here you have the maneuver in knight e4, trying to go to bishop f4 and play your opponent's good bishop. If queen d7, you can simply play h5. King b8. Here, queen h2 followed by rook h1 was an interesting plan to enter in the h5. You can take here first and play queen h2, but the idea is always the same. So that's the correct plan for Kasparov. Okay, until here, Kasparov is making well the things, and he is a very good position in a symmetrical line. But here he chose the incorrect plan. The best way to play was h4 followed by a5. And if you're going to play h5, just go to trade the bishops. But here queen f1 was no, I don't like this move. Queen e7, knight e2. Okay, he wants to go with bishop f4, knight h6. But here instead of bishop f4, because okay, you're going to play bishop f4 and trade your opponent with bishop, but then your opponent is going to play bishop f5 and you're going to trade all the bishops, so you don't have any advantage here. For that reason, the Masih prefer knight f4, maintaining pieces and can go, now he can go with this knight to e6 in one moment if black trades this bishop. Or h4 was possible too. Bishop f4, knight f7. Again, here Kasparov trade on the 6 because he haven't any useful move, but that's not true. He have h4, always useful. Bishop take, knight a4, knight e3 is slightly better, just avoiding that your opponent play bishop a5, because after knight a4, after bishop g4, knight e2, and black have no problem here. But okay, with the knight on e3, you are covering your opponent's bishop. He cannot go to f5, he cannot go to g4. So in f4, the knight is not making so much. I prefer the knight on e3, covering the possible square for your opponent bishop. Knight f4. Okay, now bishop g4, queen f7. Now the game start into so equal game. Then rook e8, knight c5, trade pieces. And here, white should just simply trade everything and completely equal position. But why make a so strange transformation? Bishop d1, rook e1, queen e1, d5. Okay, here just queen e2 or e4 completely equal. Kasparov goes with d4. Little bit strange move, but okay, it was possible. Bishop e6, f4, good move. But the problem came here. Kasparov now made a positional blunder. We trade this bishop for the knight, especially because the black dark squares and black pawns become so weak after this trade. After f5, bishop takes, pawn takes, and b takes e5. Black is better here because now the f5 pawn is weak. Okay, of course you should take one here. The f5 pawn is weak. The c5 pawn is weak. The white king is weak. So and this bishop have no some good diagonals. Of course, and this knight is going to gain to e4, and now it's completely clear that black is better in this position. Now the queen is entering with queen c7, queen e4, queen e2, queen e7 to go with c5 to e5. Now it's completely clear that black is completely better. Here the best move of course was simply goes back with the knight to e3. And yes, the position is completely equal. After take queen f2, white is going to take back the 4 pawn. There's no problem for white. But f5 was a horrible move. But what happened? After bishop takes, d takes 94. c4, not the best move, but okay, fine to try to make some counterplay. And here I have 1 minute in the clock. And he started to think. And he finally lost some time. He completely forgot about the clock. And he ended losing on time this winning game. Incredible to go from win to loss only because he forgot about the clock. He have more than 1 minute, but he simply sleep and he start to think. And something happen when you are so focused into the game, you completely forgot about the clock. And of course, Anand was a retired player with many years, so maybe things can happen. That's a huge mistake. Okay, let's analyze how Anand could continue. He make a move. The queen c6, queen c7 was the better move, attacking a2 and attacking enter on a4 or on e5. For example, takes, queen e1, defending queen a2, and of course defending the c5 pawn, and just king d7, closing the king to the center, and now white cannot play bishop f3 because queen f4, and white have no use to move, and white is center White side, white come with queen f4 or queen e3. The queen e7 was a very interesting move. That's the move that I thinking when I was watching the game live. Queen e7, bishop c2, attacking the knight, and here you can just take the pawn, but for example, queen e5 queen e5 was the best option here. Here, for example, take and queen e4, and black is close to be winning. After queen c5, there is an interesting line. Bishop takes e4, d takes queen e4, queen e1, king c2, queen h2, king c3, and here black is slightly better. And well, black is better in general. Black have a pawn up, and yes, black have a point out. But here, I analyzed the move queen e5. It was so logical, but this was a mistake. This move ends in a draw. So let's analyze how could end this one ending for end the video. Take before h5, c5. And here we have this the result with white. And yeah, you can first make check and then promote with check. Or yes, of course, c8, queen c8 and what's other also. But yes, nothing more to say about the game. Also equal all the time. Kasparov have this idea of h4, h5 to try to take advantage. He needs to find that, and then we turn into a so equal position, and then Kasparov missed with f5, trying the knight for the bishop and having all his pawn weak and his king open. But Anand lost on time, so well, that's why. Okay, of course, the position is the most important, but if you lose on time, you lost. So after that, Kasparov have two victories and 1-0 with three draws. I'm going to analyze the following round, so let's see the next video. Bye bye.